protect your face and your neck so that you aren't getting colds and flus as easily because it does run you down. But then it also can cause like windburn, and you get a lot of the sun, even though you're trying to get your vitamin D. You don't want that kind of sun where it's aging your skin and irritating it. We're going to share with you some tips and tricks, our top 10 in staying hydrated and looking youthful as we're aging gracefully.
Especially for the wintertime, because don't we get more dehydrated and like our skin can be even flaky and all that. So let's go straight into that. Like I was watching this video from Dr. Dray, who is a dermatologist, and she said some good things, but of course we want to like add in and make it more full, right? So one of the things that she talks about is maybe it's, I don't know how many times do you wash your face a day?
Twice.
Okay. Myself included. So she says during the winter months, perhaps wash once a day. And I thought that's really brilliant, because here's the thing. And I actually kind of do that, I realized, because in the mornings, I just put water around my eyes because it could kind of feel yucky, and it's just a great way to wake up. Right? But I definitely do more of a washing at nighttime. And the reason being that it's better to wash a little less is because we have natural lipid barrier. Like we have natural oils that get produced, and our water is typically hard and the winter is dry. So it kind of prevents us from naturally secreting these oils. So washing less is actually better. And then so to add to that, I would say same thing about taking showers then, or baths. Maybe you don't want to take the showers every day. Maybe and if you're like, ew, I'd feel gross if I don't, and I exercise every day, then perhaps we'll spot wash, like put the soap where it needs to go, which is like under the armpits and where your hoo-ha is. And if you have sweaty feet, do the soap on the feet. But the water itself can actually help to clean you off anyhow. Do you have any comments to that?
So I would say I love the idea, but the reason I wash my face twice a day is to give me the ability to then add in my serums, like my vitamin C serum and my moisturizer. Because if I just put that on top of my skin, which tends to be a little bit more oily at this phase of my life still because of high testosterone, this would totally be variable. I think that it gives me the ability to add those moisturizers for the anti-aging piece, but then not putting it on already oily skin. So I think it depends on where you are at in that regard. If you're just putting on a moisturizer, washing, and not putting on a moisturizer, then for sure it would be drying.
And you know what? That's a great point too. So really, the moral of this story is that we all have different kinds of skin. So recognize yours. I am a person that tends to get dry. So for me, it works better to wash less.
Which would make sense more in postmenopause for sure. So there you go.
There you go.
Perimenopausal example and a postmenopausal example. And you can even see my shiny forehead right now. If I rotate my head in circles. And that's because I literally moisturized and put my serum on underneath that, and then a little bit of like my SPF on top of that to protect. So even in the fall, winter, it's important to put your SPF moisturizers on to protect your skin.
Yes. And she says more of a water resistant sunscreen, which I thought was interesting because again, it can help to lock in the moisture and prevent while it prevents sun damage. Because as you say, whether it's summer or winter, we can still get sun damage, and even through the windows. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you have a desk right in front of a window, then yes, sure, sunshine can totally come in.
And then tap dry. So instead of wiping dry, tap dry to keep a little bit of moisture when you do wash your face. Let's say you're changing it to once a day, tap dry, and then put the moisturizer on when it's kind of semi-wet. Just like if you have a child with eczema and you're told to don't totally dry, and then put the moisturizer on like an emollient, like a moisturizer that locks the moisture in.
Yes.
Is helpful as well.
And so then that's a tip. And then the next tip is if you are using moisturizer and if you tend towards dryness, I'm not talking about you, but those that tend towards to be dry, then this is where you might use a moisturizer that's a little bit thicker, right? To
Yes.
create, again, more of that protective shield.
Right.
So when you're going out or even staying in, because again, inside is dry, which brings to the next point, which is you might want to invest, if you don't already have one, a humidifier, because humidifiers can help to regain moisture in the air, because when we turn on the heating system, it automatically pulls out moisture from the air and from your skin.
Yeah, what a difference. So much less itching in our house with having a central humidifier and putting it to 38% and then turning it off in the summertime. Like, wow, not just skin health, but like drying in the nose or nosebleeds and that kind of stuff are drastically less. So, really, really helpful tip to bring that one up.
So I'm
The other
curious though,
Mhm.
how did you get the 38%? Because I'd love to
Oh,
know.
because the actual humidifier has a gauge that you can change it to that
No, but why 38%?
moisturizer.
Why?
Oh, that was just what I was instructed by
Oh.
my water treatment expert who
Oh, well, there you
installed
go.
it.
Okay. Oh,
So,
the
yeah.
treatment expert. Okay, so not a skin specialist. Okay.
No, but I can see the difference in nose drying and nosebleeds in the house, like, for my kids, and then my
Awesome.
own like, their itching and my itching. So we forgot to put it on, and
Yes.
my kids were like, "I'm so itchy," and then I realized, "Oh, I gotta put the humidifier on," so you have to remember to turn it on,
Right. So speaking
and
of hydration, let's talk about actual hydrating, right? So it's not just about what happens outside, it's how you hydrate inside, as Tanya is right now drinking her and hydrating, and it is winter. So yes, drink lots and keep it at your desk, because don't people, if they sit in front of a computer all day long, they actually forget to drink. Or if you're like running around doing so many things, carry water with you at all times.
although we encourage standing up and taking breaks, if you are one of those people who likes to sit for endless hours, then put 7 glasses of water or 8 glasses of water by your workstation and go through them, so that way, you know that you're actually following through with that recommendation. Because what a difference it can make a difference in your, bowel movements, and if you're not if you're not pooing because 'cause you're backed up because 'cause you're dry and dehydrated, then guess what? You are reabsorbing poop water, and your skin won't thank you for that.
That's
So
a great thing, and you guys need to actually listen or watch that episode that we did with, that butt lady,
Nurse Wong.
Nurse
Yeah,
Wong. She was
yeah.
awesome. We are talking about constipation and how
Mhm.
to help that, because you're 100% right. Constipation is basically telling us we're dehydrated. So if you are constipated, you are dehydrated, you need to, help hydrate. And some people will even tell me, "Yeah, but I feel parched, but yet I drink like 3 liters of water." I'm like, "Ah, but how are you drinking, grasshopper?" Right? Meaning so if you're guzzling like a whole liter at a time, I guarantee you're not absorbing it, because it's going straight through you. So
Yes.
really it's about sipping it through the whole day so that you actually utilize it and have a good uptake, versus having it go through you.
Yeah. And if you're like me and you discovered retinol is, vitamin A as a supportive, treatment for kind of reducing like, aging of the skin. Perhaps don't try it in this season where it's all of a sudden starting to be already more dry, because retinol is very drying. And if you are going to start using it, like Mary said, make sure you're using a very thick moisturizer, one that has perhaps hyaluronic acid in it. And maybe you're starting with like once a week to help to support you to be um, adapting or adjusting to the treatment rather than jumping in every second or third day, which is what they recommend. And then eventually your skin gets used to it and you can apply it every day and not get the drying. So don't add to dry and burning skin to an already dry environment. So that's another thing to consider. And then another topical cream to consider if you are postmenopausal is estriol, the pregnancy hormone. Estrogen is estriol, and it can be used topically without being absorbed systemically. And it is also anti-aging and moisturizing. So something to improve elastin. And then what about acupuncture and gua sha? How does that improve?
Oh,
Because that
yeah.
would help with
It
like circulation, right?
Yes, it brings in blood flow to the face and never mind everywhere else as well. So, and also if you do acupuncture locally, I mean, don't do this at home. Obviously, you have to go to an acupuncturist that does good quality facial acupuncture for rejuvenation. And one of the things that it's kind of like it creates micro trauma. So it brings more in blood flow to the area. And then when you actually put on the oils and the creams, it's going to help be absorbed more as well, right? And what we know that acupuncture can help to increase collagen production and elastin production so that it helps to firm and tone and make everything plumpier and juicier. So that's really important. Now, I want to go back to the estriol. So are you putting the cream on your face or on your body?
So systemic estrogen is usually estradiol, which is the second out of the three estrogens, and estriol can be used, which is the third of the estrogen hormones, can be applied topically to your face and neck to support the anti-aging.
Awesome.
Or to slow it down.
And then so talking about, potions and creams and moisturizers, the one thing that we might also want to slow down on, especially if you have flaking and stuff, like there's this, you think that maybe you want to use a scrub, but what actually can happen and when you scrub and use a chemical scrubbers or whatever there is, it can actually produce micro tears, and then that's not so healthy for you, and it can also dehydrate the skin. So you got to be careful with that. I've known some medical estheticians that say don't even do it at all.
So another thing to consider is protecting your skin and your face from the elements. So make sure you have a big hood and a scarf and protect your face and your neck so that you aren't getting colds and flus as easily, because it does run you down, but then it also can cause like windburn, and you get a lot of the sun, even though you're trying to get your vitamin D. You don't want that kind of sun where it's aging your skin and irritating it, especially if there's wind in there, right? So like irritating your skin from the wind and coming home with like dry, irritated skin. So, and then another thing to consider, the last thing to consider would be my top supplement, which is an omega-3. So if you are avoiding fish in your diet, or perhaps you're like me and you only get it 2 or 3 times per week because you're trying to avoid heavy metals, get it in an omega-3 supplement to help you hydrate your skin. So an oral omega-3 high in EPA is very helpful for skin, and you'll find that you're less itchy if you do get dry, irritated, itchy skin. And then something that patients will often ask me about is collagen. Collagen is popular and used amongst my patients and a lot of people. It doesn't have, there is no clear evidence of it helping when you take it orally, the collagen for your skin collagen. There is some evidence that it's helpful for hair health and joint health, but there is no clear evidence other than patients reporting the difference, which is still some evidence. When you take an oral collagen, people will report that it helps with their skin, slowing down the aging, and improves the hydration through the fall and winter. So I'm going to wrap this up. There are lots of tips and tricks that we provided today to help you maintain the winter skin glow and avoid the drying through this season, and some really awesome anti-aging tips and tricks. So if you like this episode, please share, like, and subscribe, and DM us if you have any specific questions or if you want to book in a visit. Thank you.